morning, class. How was your weekend? Okay, that's nice to hear. So before our discussion, may I request first Miss Dangan to please lead a short prayer? Okay, thank you, Miss Dangan. So, now I want you to arrange all your chairs and pick up all the litters under your chairs so that we can start now our discussion. Okay, very good. Please be seated now. So, now, who can tell me what was our last topic last meeting? Anyone else? Yes, Miss Solomon, you're raising your hand. Okay, very good. Our last topic last meeting is all about the Greek mythology. So, and who was the king in the Greek mythology? Yes, Miss Dangan? Correct. Yes, very good. Zeus was the king in the Greek mythology. And who was the king after Zeus? Anyone? Yes? Very good. Cronus was the king before Zeus. So now, since we have a lot of knowledge about our last topic last meeting, now we move on to our new topic today. So, our topic today is very exciting and very touching. And it portrays the love that triumphs over tragedy. So, are you guys excited? Okay, very good. So before that, I will show you a video of the story of Ceyx and Alcyone, and after that, we will summarize it and discuss more about the story. Okay? Understand? Very good. So before I forgot, so did you all know, guys, that every January in Greece, they celebrated a Halcyon Day? Oh yes? Meaning Halcyon Day, they are also known as birds that also known as the kingfishers. So it is a period of calm on them during winter or when storms do not occur. Yes, exactly. That is their tradition that is based on the story of the well-known myth of Alcyone and Saints. And that is exactly what our topic today. So now, I will let you watch a short video on the story of Alcyone and Ceyx. Then later on, we will discuss further more. Okay? Understood? Very good.
There are several love stories in Greek mythology, many of which ends in tragic heartbreak. Some of those stories served as pillars of inspiration for famous tales like Romeo and Juliet. Others fade away in time, and very few people heard about them, as was the case of Ceyx and Alcyone. Ceyx reigned over Thessaly, and he was a good ruler. With him, Thessaly went through a period of peace and prosperity. The king was married with Alcyone, his beloved and devoted wife. But the king was quite dismayed due to several mishaps that his kingdom was experiencing, which included his brother's death. Ceyx started to believe that his kingdom no longer counted with the gods' benevolence, and therefore, he made the decision to travel to the Oracle of Delphi, looking for answers. To reach the Oracle, the king would have to go through a morose and sometimes dangerous sea journey. Knowing her husband's plan, Alcyone experienced an ominous sign and begged him to relinquish the idea, or at least to take her with him. But Ceyx didn't mind his wife's pleas. Although he didn't want to leave his beloved partner behind, he also didn't want to put her at risk. He promised to Alcyone that he would be back in 2 weeks at most. The king embarked and waved at his beloved wife, who, with teary eyes, waved back. Initially, the journey was quiet, but the weather quickly shifted, and the sailors were hit by a powerful storm. Ceyx's vessel was swallowed by the tides, and the king was engulfed by the sea, along with his ship. His last thoughts were about his wife and his promise of returning to her, which would never be fulfilled. Alcyone spent every day praying to the gods for a safe return of her husband, unaware of the tragedy that struck him. The return deadline had already expired, and Alcyone began to pray even more and making offerings, especially to the goddess Hera, which is the protective goddess of marriages and couples. The goddess, witnessing the queen's grief, due to her missing husband, decided to act. Hera called the goddess Iris, her faithful messenger, and ordered her to meet Morpheus, the god of dreams. She wanted to have him convey her message as a dream. Iris stepped into the dark cave where the god of dreams slept. The brightness of the goddess's colored rainbow lights woke up the god, and, after delivering the message, the goddess went away. Hypnos, the god of sleep, ordered his son Morpheus to shape himself like Ceres and visit Alcyone in her dreams, fulfilling Hera's command. Morpheus visited Alcyone in her sleep. She saw her husband, and he appeared pale, with a saddened face, as well as wet hair and clothes. And what seemed like her husband's ghost told her, "I come to reveal my sad fate. I went overboard, and my life was prematurely interrupted. Weep and mourn for me, because I will not come back to life to fulfill my promise." Alcyone threw herself at the ghost's feet and pleaded him not to go away, and, when she tried to grab his legs, he vanished, and so the queen woke from her dream and was sure that her husband would never make it back. Alcyone went to the beach, the same place where she had seen her beloved man for the last time. That's when she spotted a floating body, and Alcyone immediately recognized Ceres. Desperate, she jumped into the sea to reach her husband, despite not knowing how to swim. Alcyone was about to drown. Her life was also coming to an abrupt end. That was when the gods levitated her body, and the queen was turned into a beautiful bird. But even as a bird, she still wept for the loss of her love. Then she flew up to her husband's body and kissed him. Ceres then reborn as a bird as well. And together, the couple of birds conquered the air. From that day, once a year for 7 days, the Greek seas calm down, a sign that Alcyone and Ceres are returning to hatch their eggs.
So, did you guys enjoy watching the video? Okay, very good. That's nice to hear. Exactly. It was an amazing story. It was a story that portrays love that triumphs over tragedy. So, before an activity and for more understanding, I will summarize the story of the two, which Ceres and Alcyone. So, here we go. So, Ceres was the son of the morning star, was the king of the Greek city of Thracis. He was married to Alcyone, whose the father Aeolus was the keeper of the winds. So the two were very much in love, and though they hated to be apart, Ceres decided to travel across the sea to consult the Delphic oracle. And then, having spent her childhood watching storm clouds and lightning dance about her father's palace, Alcyone was fully aware of the power of the wind, so she begged Ceres not to go, but he refused to listen to her warnings. So, seeing that her husband's mind could not be changed, Alcyone demanded that she be allowed to accompany him to her or to his trip, and then Ceres would hear nothing of it, and then instead he left his tearful bride standing on the shore as his ship slowly disappeared into the mystery darkness of the sea. And then Ceres had only traveled a short distance into his journey before a huge storm suddenly erupted over the water. The winds blew violently, tossing the ship about the waves as if it were only a child's toy. The crew was mad with terror, and in the final moments of his life, Ceres' mind was filled with only thoughts of Alcyone, unaware that any harm had befallen upon her husband. So, Alcyone prayed to Hera to protect Ceres and to provide him with a quick and safe return home. Hearing the prayers, the goddess was consumed with pity for Alcyone, for she knew that the young man was already dead. So, Hera dispatched her messenger, Iris, to the house of Sombus, the god of sleeps, Longbus lives near the Cimercian nymphs in a valley that never kissed by the golden rays of the sun. So, in the darkness, the only sound to be heard came from nearby pool of lit. It was the brilliance of Iris' rainbow clock penetrated the dismal interiors of sleeps of abode. So, once the god was fully awake, Hera Serpent instructed him to send Alcyone a vision revealing the sad truth about 6 deaths at the sea. So, again, Sombus summoned his son Morpheus, the god of dreams. So, Morpheus, who was able to change his shape at his will, quickly flew to Alcyone in the disguise of Ceyx. He appeared at her bedside, wet and naked, and with much sadness recounted to the gloomy details of his shipwreck and death. Alcyone awake from her sleep in tears, finding herself alone in her room. She called out into the night, desperately begging Ceyx to wait for her. So when morning came, she raced down to the shore and stood alone on the sand, gazing out into the water. So she saw something floating gently upon the waves. So recognizing the body to be that of Ceyx, Alcyone rushed into the sea after him. But before she could drown, the grieving widow sprouted wings and flew off into the horizon. So, Ceyx, now full of life, also took on the shape of the bird. So, the couple, who had been transformed into a pair of kingfishers or halcyons, happily made their way across the sky. Together again, Ceyx and Alcyone are perfect example of how the strong bond of the true love can never be broken. So that is the summary of the story of Ceyx and Alcyone. So it is true that it is a very amazing story. It has a lot of meanings and it's so very touching. So guys, did you all understand the story of Ceyx and Alcyone? Okay, very good. That's nice to hear. So now, I want you to answer this following question in a 1/4 sheet of paper. Then, pass it to me later on if you're done. Okay? Very good. So, okay class, are you now done answering the questions? Okay, very good. So now, let's check your papers. So, number 1 is Halcyon. Very good. Number 2 is Ceyx and Alcyone. Number 3 is Hera. Number 4 is Iris. And then number 5 is Sombus. Okay, for the essay part, I'll just check it later on, okay? Okay, so, very good. Very good class. Most of you got a perfect score. And that means you have understand our topic today. So, for your assignment, make an analysis on the story of Ceyx and Alcyone and pass it to me next meeting. Okay? Okay, congratulations class. So class, thank you for your active participation. So, see you next meeting. Okay, goodbye class.